Alrighty, hello everyone. Let's see. Let's see if anyone will come. All right, hi everyone. Thank you for listening in today. So I'm just going to go over any questions you might have. Feel free to ask them in the chat box, and I will get to them. Um, Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Before I start blathering about and no one can hear me. That'd be really sad. Okay, so yeah, so today I'm just going to answer any questions that you guys have, and and then if you guys run out of questions, I'll just go over some general stuff. So let me see if I can get the game to play along with me. All right, cool. Okay, so first question. When I signed up for orientation this past week, there was only an option to register for the language placement test. How do we register for the math placement exam? That is a great question. So you'll register for it. It well, you're kind of forced to do it. So it's actually kind of mandatory, right, for people who are in a major that requires calculus. So the way you register for it officially is to get the math placement readiness package, which is sold by the College of Natural Sciences. That information hasn't come out this year yet. I think they're a little behind. So check back within a few months to register for it. But I wouldn't be too worried about getting the placement test because, or the readiness package, because even though they say that you have to do it, it's actually not really required. You can kind of skip over it, and they can't do anything about it. So yeah, if you want to take the placement test at orientation, it's you basically just go and take it. They're not going to make sure that you signed up for anything. Now, for the language placement test, I think you're supposed to sign up beforehand, but then again, I think you can accommodate for it. So if you didn't sign up beforehand, I think you can still like do it on the day of, and then if you don't want to do it anymore, you can always skip. Um, Next question, what is the best fraternity? I'm not very into fraternities, so I'm not sure. But there's definitely going to be a lot of fraternities you can join, each with their different, styles. Um, Recommendations for how to find the best fraternity, I would say uh, they do recruit in the beginning of the year, and I know that they try to recruit during orientation as well. Unfortunately, though, you got to be careful because leaving campus is not allowed at orientation officially. And the main reason for that is because people go off to fraternities to get drunk during their early recruiting seasons. And so that becomes an issue. I would recommend just being smart about it. Uh, be sure to come back before curfew, which is around 12:30 a.m. usually. If you're back before then, and they really can't check if you're on campus or not. So that would be my advice. All right, so since there are no more questions right now from the audience, I'm just going to go over uh, some boilerplate questions that I've compiled that should give you a good insight into UT Austin. So one question that people have asked is, what is orientation? And what do you do at orientation? So orientation is UT's opportunity to get you into the environment of being a student. Yeah, so three main things, I guess, happen at orientation. First is you meet with your advisor. The second is that you take placement tests. And the third thing is you get oriented with the policies of UT Austin. I know UT loves to stress our core values and especially diversity at orientation. So I would say it's glorified diversity training um, for most of orientation, and then, yeah, the rest is just placement tests um, and meeting with your advisor and registering for classes. All right. So it looks like we have a question from the audience, and if you have any questions, feel free to just leave a comment in the comment box. I think you might need a YouTube account to do that, so if that's an issue, please be sure to make one. Um, if your orientation is before AP scores released, will your advisor have your scores prior, or will you just tell them what you expect to get credit for? So if you are signed up for the July 1st through 3rd orientation or after, I think you'll have your AP scores. If you're signed up for one beforehand, your advisors don't have secret access to the AP scores that much beforehand. I think colleges get their AP scores, I would say, or yeah, colleges like UT Austin get their AP scores a little earlier than they're released to the public, but it's usually only like a week before. So I can't remember when AP scores are being released this year, but I think they should be out by July 3rd. I really can't say for certain. Um, and UT will have access to that, and you'll have access to it too through UT, not through College Board. Now, if your orientation is before that, what you'll do is you'll just assume the best case scenario, or just use your best judgment and think, okay, I think I probably got a 3, and then you just go with that. You do a what if, because most of the classes you're signing up for, they're not going to be strictly enforcing the prerequisites, which might come from your AP classes, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You can just sign up for classes assuming you have the credit. If you don't have the credit, you can always change your classes around in August, because in August, after everyone's had orientation, there's something what's called an add drop period, and that's just when you get to modify your schedule. So if you are not sure about your AP scores yet, don't worry about it. Just assume that you got it, unless you have a really bad feeling about it, and then yeah, then just go from there and see what happens. All right. Uh, let's see. Any other questions? If not, oops, I don't want to crash into this guy. Let's go on to the next preset question. How do you register for classes? So I think one of the good things to do before orientation is to kind of come up with the classes you want to take, as well as get oriented with how the UT registration system works. I believe there's a YouTube video that allows you to get a feel for, like what exactly to click to register for classes. So the first time you'll register for classes will be at orientation on the very last day. Beyond that, you'll just want to prepare for the class you want to register by looking at the course schedules. So the course schedules are actually not online yet. They will come out, I would say, late March or early April. I'm also a student here, so I'm also waiting for them to come out, just like you are. So we're in the same boat here. But as soon as they come out, you'll be able to look at, what kind of classes you want to register for. And if you're not sure about that, leave it. Just tell me in the comments, and I can tell you right now. Or if you want, you can later send me a private message, and we can work it out. But yeah, basically, you'll want to look at, okay, what times work best for me? Which professor do I want, etc. Some good resources that you should be looking at are Rate My Professor, because they give some, student-created reviews about professors. UT Catalyst Grade Distribution's website, which you can find at utcatalyst.org/grade distribution with an S. Let's see. Uh, is there anything else? Those are the two things that I use. You can also access the syllabi by just looking up like UT syllabi on Google. You'll find the link somewhere. Um, but yeah, you'll want to find probably the easiest and the best professor because that's, everyone's ideal course. So yeah, definitely use your resources, leverage them, and use that to come up with the best schedule you can find. Next question is, how do the dining halls work at UT? So we have two all-you-can-eat service dining halls. One of them is in Jester, and it's called J2, and the other one is in Kinsolving Hall, and it's just Kins, or Kinsolving, Kins Dining, or whatever you want to call it. So they're located on the polar opposites of campus. Uh, so basically, you'll be pretty close to a dining hall wherever you are. Um, and these are buffets where you can just go inside and eat as much as you want. Now, we also have a la carte locations. There are more of the a la carte locations than we have the all-you-can-eat dining halls, but the all a la carte locations allow you to get slightly better food, but it costs more. Whereas the dining halls are pretty cheap. You can just swipe in and get as much food as you want for like $4 or $5. But actually, that's going to change this for you guys, so I'm going to talk about that later. So you'll get to use these a la carte locations as well. Um, and there are also like convenience stores on campus. So there's a convenience store in Jester and a convenience store in Kinsolving. Uh, I think we also now have a boba shop called Bliss, which is in Jester. And yeah, so all of these kinds of stores that you can access, they're actually operated by University Housing and Dining. And at all these University Housing and Dining operated locations, you can use what are called dine-in dollars, and we got $1,800 of dine-in dollars this year that we can freely use at these locations, and they last us the whole year. And if we don't use all of them up, we actually get a rollover plan for one more semester until we move out. So the um, the number of dine-in dollars you guys are going to get next year, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen, because what traditionally we did was we would have the $1,800 in dine-in dollars would be used not only for a la carte locations, but also for the unlimited dining halls, um, like the all-you-can-eat dining halls, I mean. But beginning next year, they're going to convert those locations into unlimited swipe locations, which means that it doesn't matter how many dine-in dollars you would have on your account, you can swipe in no matter what. And this is in order to like address food insecurity and stuff like that. So the issue is now we don't know how it's going to work because University Housing and Dining hasn't said anything. In fact, last I heard, they haven't actually figured out any of the details yet, and they're still working on them. So all I can say right now is that next year you guys will have unlimited swipes for the dining halls, which is very convenient because you can just go and get food whenever you want. But we don't know how much money you're going to get for a la carte. Nonetheless, I will say the $1,800 of dine-in dollars that we get is very generous, and it's hard to use it up, especially if you don't eat on campus all the time. So yeah. Uh, Now, there are also just like restaurants not operated by Housing and Dining on campus. Like, so for instance, we have restaurants in the Union and the SAC, the Student Activity Center, such as Chick-fil-A. There's an Asian place called Zen, Taco Cabana, Quiznos, uh, Panda Express, Starbucks. What else? I think that's about it. Um, and also there's a Wendy's in Jester. Those locations, they don't take dine-in dollars because they aren't operated by University Housing and Dining, but they do take Bevo bucks, and every resident this year got $200 in Bevo bucks. Um, and so Bevo bucks are kind of like dine-in dollars, but more powerful, but you don't get as much of them because, this is that would be too nice of a world, right? So yeah, um, you can use your Bevo bucks. Basically at almost all locations on campus, even those that are not operated by housing. So yeah. They're very nice, and you can get to use those, yeah, pretty much for whatever you want. Um, I think that's about it for dining. Oh, last thing is the Bevo Bucks that you get. They can actually be used off campus at a lot of vendors near campus. So, for instance, I went to Chipotle a lot last semester, which is right on the Drag, which is like the shopping area to the west of campus, or sure, but I don't know. So that area, um, let's see. That area has a lot of stores that take Bevo Bucks, so you don't have to use your real money. You can just use your ID and pay with Bevo Bucks, which is really, really nice because it saves you money. You've already paid for it if you live on campus, and yeah. All right, so hopefully that helped with on-campus dining. I'll move on to the other questions now. Okay, so weird question, but do I have to bring a broom slash vacuum to the dorm if I want to clean my room, or is that kind of stuff provided? That's definitely not a weird question at all. That's a very, very, very good question. Um, you don't have to bring it to your dining, or it's not dining hall. Why would you bring a broom to a dining hall? You don't have to bring it into your residence hall. You can definitely choose to bring one if you want, but you can check them out at the front desk. I will say it's more convenient to have your own because you won't have to go all the way downstairs and check one out. But if you really want to, you can. I mean, not if you really want to. If you want, you can just rely on the front desk equipment, and all front desks should have vacuums. Swiffers, uh, definitely a typical broom they'll have for you. And so I actually worked at the front desks for a few months. And I don't work there anymore, but from the experiences that I've had, you can definitely check those out. So don't worry about that. Now the front desks don't provide cleaning chemicals, so if you need to like get some 409, like you should get that on your own. I think maybe the convenience stores might sell that on campus. All right. Next question. So I'm not going to commit until April. What will I be behind on, and how do I catch up? So you'll be behind on signing up for orientation. Now, the earlier spots for orientation are probably all taken by now. So depending on what college you're in. So what you can either do is, actually, you should probably do this. Sign up for one of the orientation spots that are still open, and then I think in late May they let you they kind of reopen some of the orientations because people drop out, and they reopen basically all the orientations, and so you can sign up for that. Definitely, I'll send a reminder out, or someone who's eagle-eyed can do that because I don't have access to the information, unfortunately. But yeah, you can definitely do that. Now, in terms of getting caught up with everything else, for housing contracts, if they send you one, I can't remember the specifics. This was a little fuzzy even for me. But if they send you a housing contract and you haven't paid your deposit yet, and then you don't return it, I feel like you can always ask them later on to send you a new one in the next batch. So they send out new batches on the 1st and 15th of every month until the end of May. I think if you do that, you're fine. The order in which you sign the housing contract does not matter. It's only the $50 deposit that does. And I want to make that really, really, really clear because this causes a lot of confusion, which is understandable because it's like really a stupid system. But yeah, the order in which you choose rooms is not determined by the $300 deposit you pay. It's not determined by the housing contract. It's determined by when you paid that $50 deposit that you should have done a few months ago. So if you paid a few months ago, you'll probably get first dibs on choosing a room. But if you paid like recently, you'll still get a room. You just won't have priority. And so you'll get to choose rooms in like June. And you'll see like your access period for choosing rooms is going to be a little bit later than other people if you pay that $50 deposit later. So that's how that works. Other than that, I don't think you're missing out on anything. I can't remember anything else that you're missing out on. But you do miss on orientation sign up, which is really infuriating, but that's just how it works here at UT. Sorry. Okay, in and out, baby. Who is Bevo? So first off, no, not In-N-Out, Whataburger. You're going to get mauled alive if you like In-N-Out better than Whataburger. Second thing, no, I'm just kidding. It's a contentious topic, kind of. It's a joke topic. Who is Bevo? Bevo is our Longhorn. Like we're the Texas Longhorns, right? Well, we actually have a Longhorn animal, and his name is Bevo. I think we're on the 15th now. Bevo the 15th. He lives out in a ranch, and yeah, he lives a nice life, and he comes to football games because he's our mascot. Oh shoot, I missed the exit. Well, I'm just an idiot. Alrighty. Many college classes tend to strongly advise against taking 8 a.m. classes. What is your opinion concerning 8 a.m. classes? That's a great question. At the risk of not, I'm going to attempt to not sound biased. So, okay, fine. I'll say this. Personally, I hate 8 a.m. classes. I can't wake up to them. In fact, I don't even get up this semester until like 10 every day in the morning. So, yeah, that wouldn't work out too well if I had an 8 a.m. class. The reason why 8 a.m. classes don't work out too well is because people usually sleep around midnight to 2 a.m. in college. And if you want to get enough sleep, right, add 9 to that. Let's just be a little bit nice here, right? I know we're not going to get 9 hours of sleep, but your body wants that. So add 9 to 2 and you get 11. All right, maybe that's a little too far, but you're not going to be able to. Let's say you do 7 hours and you're going to wake up at 9 a.m. That doesn't work out too well either. So 8 a.m. classes are really just tough for college students to wake up on, just because of not just because of when you sleep, but also because of when everyone else sleeps. There is just a lot of, I'd say, peer pressure regarding when you sleep because you don't want to miss out on hanging out with friends for an extra hour or two. So, oh shoot, oh no, yeah, that's unfortunate. So let's see. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Um, was that okay? So, sorry, I'm trying to focus on this game now. But yeah, 8 a.m.s are just in general kind of tough to wake up to, so I really wouldn't recommend getting one. Um, and yeah, my personal opinion really does reinforce that bias against 8 a.m.s. Um, I personally haven't had an 8 a.m. since, so I went to TAMS, which is like this high school where you take college classes, and I haven't had an 8 a.m. since senior year of high school, which is basically like my second year of college, I guess. So yeah, I haven't had 8 a.m.s in like 3 semesters, and I don't think I could ever do one again, just because of how adolescent sleep schedules work. And yeah, 8 a.m.s will not be beneficial for your sleep, so I would definitely recommend against them. If you have any other questions about specifically why I don't like 8 a.m.s I didn't address, please let me know in the comments. What do I do for food? Great question. I don't know. That's like I don't even know like today like how to answer that question. Um, so usually I try to eat on campus um, because we paid when you live on campus. The dining dollars that you get and all that stuff is included with your room and board, so you already paid for it. Uh, so there's not really any reason why you shouldn't be using it, except for the fact that the food kind of tastes bad. So as many times as I can, I try to eat on campus. That being said, the food isn't that good. So sometimes I will just have to, uh, get some real food. And I just go off campus, like right next to UT, go to the drag and get some food there. Some people might refer to the drag as Guadalupe Street or Guad. Um, that's a new trend. So formerly that strip of Guadalupe Street from I want to say Martin Luther King to 27th or 31st Street. That area is next to campus, and that's why it's called a drag, because there's like a traffic light basically at every street that intersects with Quad, um, except for 22nd Street. No, except for 23rd Street. And so that's why I'll officially call that area the drag, but I might say Quad and have a Freudian slip. So just know those two mean the same thing. So usually people go to the drag to get food off campus. Um, let's see, what's another choice? So I usually go to the all-you-can-eat buffets. I prefer J2 because I think the quality is more consistent. That's what I've noticed over the past few months. Kinsolving, it was good at the beginning of the year, but now it's kind of crappy. So I think you just kind of have to, you'll just have to find out like which you prefer. It's all about working out your own routine in college. Now, in terms of um, getting off-campus food or even like on-campus a la carte food, it just depends on how I feel. If I'm like, I can't eat any J2 or Kinsolving today, I'll just get it a la carte. Um, or, if I'm going out with friends, we don't always go to Kinsolving to eat, and that's fine. So we'll just go to like Chipotle or Cabo Bob's or Don's Japanese, Halal Bros. There's a really good variety of food. I can't list out all the restaurants because that would take forever. But yeah, we have such a great variety of restaurants here at UT, and I think you're gonna love it. Okay, next question. How does signing up for classes work at orientation? So basically, everyone will sign up for classes at 2 p.m. on the last day of your orientation session together. So it's going to be really slow to sign up, but it's going to work out, trust me. Um, what's important to note is that most people, uh, or not most people, uh, you can only sign up for classes between 2 p.m. of the last day and then midnight of that last day. After that, you can't change your schedule until August. And that allows people to have a chance to basically, um, other people like in other orientations have a chance uh, to sign up for their classes. You'll basically go online to UT Direct. There's going to be a place to register for classes specifically, and uh, you'll be able to register at 2 p.m. on that day through the web interface. The way it works is that you find all of the specific sections you want to be in, and then each section will have a unique ID, and you'll just type that unique ID into the registration one by one to add yourself to that class. There's a lot of complexities to it, such as like, which one do I do first? Well, the one that you want the most first. But, there's a lot of nuances and subtleties to this. Okay, next question. I've paid my housing deposit and such, but not the university deposit. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. I didn't know you could do that. The whole process is still confusing to me, but yeah, that should work then. You'll be fine. What's the thing about Sixth Street? Oh, okay. So I'm assuming no one here is 21, and I'm not 21 either. Sixth Street is the bar district, so it's I'll give you a hint. UT is between Martin Luther King and Dean Keaton, which is basically like 19th through 26th Streets. Whereas down south is 6th Street. So it's in downtown Austin. It's the bar district for Austin, and a lot of UT students like to go there and have fun. Um, I mean, certainly an option if you're over 21 or 21 or over. If you're not, then well, I mean, officially you can't be going there, but people do have fake IDs, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So let's just pretend everyone who had a fake ID is 21. um, then yeah, there are a lot of students 21 and over who go to Sixth Street, and yeah, that's it's a bar district. So what you can do there is just drink. Um, Anything else? Not really. Uh, you'll want to go with friends. Yeah. How rigorous is the BHP workload? How are the classes like? I also heard that the BHP classes are curved better. Is that true? Okay, so the BHP workload is pretty rigorous. I'm in Turing as well, so compared to Turing, it's not that rigorous. But that being said, like after this live stream, I'm gonna go do my BHP homework. So yeah, wish me luck. But yeah, it does take quite a bit of time to do some of the homework. Other things are all right. Uh, I would say, it's a little bit, it's no, it's a whole lot more challenging than say your typical business coursework. But um, but I think it's still doable. If you're admitted to BHP, you can do the BHP coursework. Um, Now, in terms of what the classes are like, they're going to be case based. So every class is has a case based curriculum. Um, where instead of just learning the concepts, you also like an MBA school, MBA program. You'll learn from case studies, which are like specific things that happen to companies that demonstrate a particular thing they're trying to teach. And so uh, each class is also very small. It's going to be between 30 and 40 students. So that way you're not going to be crammed into a large lecture hall. You're going to be uh, actually learning, at a very personal level. You'll get to know your professors. Professors want to get to know you. And yeah, I think it's really great because it definitely doesn't feel like a regular McCombs class. It feels much smaller and it feels much more interesting, I would say, in a good way, in a very good way. Because like I'm actually interested in stuff we learn. Let's see. The last question you had was whether BHP classes were curved better than McCombs classes, and the short answer is yes, they are. Long answer is all McCombs classes are supposed to be curved to a certain GPA threshold. I believe it's 3.3. So the average GPA of the student is the 3.3. Now, let's see. I don't remember what the BHP average GPA was, but it's quite a bit higher, and it's just to compensate for the difficulty of the coursework uh, in BHP. So yeah, I would say because you put in more effort, the more likely you are to get a more favorable grade. And so yeah, I would definitely say, if you are looking for a curve, uh, if that makes you feel any better, then yeah, BHP does have a better curve. But it's just to compensate for the difficulty of the classes. You can look at the grade distributions online at utcatalyst.org for BHP classes and the non-BHP classes. The BHP classes will end with an H, whereas the regular ones don't. And so you can definitely see like there is going to be a difference between uh, what kind of grade distributions they have. All right, hopefully that was informative enough for BHP. The next question. I've only paid my $50 application. What should I do next, even though I'm not sure I'll attend UT? Um, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to do anything else, actually. That's it. Uh, I think anything else would be unnecessary. Or actually, no, you can't do anything else right now. So yeah. That being said, once course schedules come out, you should definitely start planning them. Look at the degree plan on your major's like website, like the department's website or the college's website, wherever the degree plans are located, and see like, okay, what courses do I need to take? What AP classes do I have, and what credit am I coming in with, etc. Um, Let's see. I would say use my AP credits calculator because I made it in a way so that it should be very intuitive to use to make everything a lot more simpler. And you can kind of look off of that to see like what credits you're coming in with if you took AP. Same thing for IB. So yeah, definitely check those both out if you need. If you're a dual credit student, then you should probably use what's called the Automated Transfer Equivalency System, and that's an official UT like system database that you can look up, like what your dual credits college credits will transfer into UT as. Um, but yeah, I think apart from that, there's not much else. What's the best way to install fear in pedestrians on a neon green scooter? Oh, so like if you want to ride a lime, what's the best way to scare a pedestrian? Okay. Well, I actually do have a scooter myself. Um, so the way to do that, I'll answer this because I would hope you would do the opposite. The way to scare someone is to unpredictably shift where you're going, so swerve, and then crash into people, and they get hurt, and then you'll get in trouble and fined, and yeah, that's not pretty. So if you wanted to get in trouble, yeah, sure, be a jerk and crash into people while they're walking on Speedway. But if you want to be a safe scooter driver, then or sure, brighter, I don't know. Then first make sure you have a driver's license and you're over 18. Second, you need to make sure um, that uh, you just follow safe driving patterns. I feel like if you have a driver's license, you should be able to know what's considered safe driving and what's not. Um, so if you apply those principles from your car to your scooter, you should be fine. All right. What are some items that students usually forget to bring, like a mattress topper or something like that? Oh, good point. I need to share a list of things to bring to college. So definitely find a list of stuff to bring. I can try to find one later. Please remind me on Reddit if I don't send one out. Um, and yeah, do everything that's on that list. Something that students usually don't remember to bring. They're honestly pretty comprehensive. One thing might be like a pool noodle because some people will loft their beds, basically putting the bed on top and then putting your desk underneath it. You can do that in Jester and some of the other dorms. But you want to put like a pool needle on the metal railing so that you don't hit your head. If you hit your head on it, you don't get really hurt. So the pool needle will soften the blow by a lot. That's a really niche thing for me to say. Uh, I say that because other people do that. Um, Personally, I don't really know what you people forget to bring. That being said, I think I would say there's a lot of stuff you could forget to bring, but the best way to address this is to um, make sure you can get stuff on Amazon if you forget anything, or you can go to the Target right next to campus, um, or go shopping. Move in first, see what you might be missing, and then go shopping again, and then after that, yeah. Uh, I'd say one thing that I have in my room that most people might not have is a doorstop. And that's so that people can come into my room without, sometimes we want to keep the door open. Um, Other times we don't. But if you need to prop the door open, get a doorstop. Yeah. Uh, if you're living in a connected or private bathroom, then be sure you bring like your own toilet like items like toilet paper and whatever because they won't be provided to you. Um, Let's see. Yeah, apart from that, I think it's just all up to what you figure out. There's not really anything glaring that people forget to bring. Now that I think about it, one thing that people might think they might need, but they don't, is a microwave and a refrigerator. Because what we have here are what they call micro fridges, which is, it doesn't mean that the fridge is really, really small. It means that there's a microwave and a medium sized refrigerator. Like not a full size one you'd have at home, but like one with the freezer um, and a refrigerator component to it. Yeah. Okay, I'm really driving recklessly. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on to the next question. Um, how much of a disadvantage am I if I can only go to an August orientation, especially as a CS major, or especially registering for classes, especially as a CS major? So I say that the August orientation is not ideal because from friends who went to the August orientation, I've heard bad things. Um, like they weren't able to get the classes they wanted, and the experience itself is just not as fun as summer orientation because you're already here, and like it's not like its own thing. It's just like, oh, you missed the other ones, so you're here now. Um, so people take it less seriously. I mean, it's like a lot less time. They don't have all the fun activities because it's just like you just need to do the important stuff, right? But from what I've heard, the classes are like the selection of courses you'll be able to register for are limited because everyone else is registered for everything else. That being said, you shouldn't be worrying about like, oh, but I need this course to graduate. If it's like a major required course, they're not going to, you're not going to be prevented from taking that course. You just might not get what you want, and that's how it is. But as a CS major, you're probably going to be assigned courses to take your first semester anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry about that too much because they're just going to kind of force you into a course. So yeah. Um, what are the best study spaces on campus? So I think it's up to you. There's a lot of good study spaces on campus, but I'll just go over the ones that people typically uh, use. Um, and then I'll say that the best study spaces are the ones that you like the most, and you don't tell people because then it probably won't be your like favorite study space anymore, right? You know what I mean? So people don't like giving away their favorite study spaces, and but I'll say mine. It's one of the lobbies in my dorm, so that's no surprise. But yeah, most people will go to the PCL to study. Um, the PCL is our main like library. It's called the Perry Castaneda Library. It's located right next to Jester. And there are several floors on which you can, sit down and, start studying. Um, the fifth floor of the PCL is known as the group studies floor, and that's basically where it gets really loud, and people just, if you want to go there, you probably won't get work done. But like, yeah, it's, it's, I think it's just it's an option. Um, apart from that, you can study at depending on like what major you are, your college might offer you specific study spaces available just for your major. So, for instance, if you're a Macomb student, you can go inside the Macombs building, and there is a private study room called the NRG Productivity Room, and you have to actually use your ID to swipe in, and only majors can swipe in. So it's very nice because you're not going to see like a bunch of other random people. It's just going to be business majors there. Um, if you're a computer science major, you can access the GDC, the Gatesdale complex, 24/7 with your ID. So you can just swipe on in and go in whenever you want and find a place to study. Other than that, you don't have to study the PCL. You can study in the gesture study rooms. You can study in your dorm. I wouldn't recommend that though. Like the common areas are much more preferable to your room. You can study in the Union. You can study in the SAC, uh, and those are the places that are kind of open in the weekends. And the FAC, the Flaw Academic Center, is also a good option to study in. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. If you have any specific questions, leave it in the chat, please. What's it like to be a physics major? So I'm not a physics major, so I really don't know. But what I do know is you'll be based in the uh, building called RLM, so the Robert Lee Moore Hall. That's where math, physics, and astronomy is based. From what I've heard, the department's pretty good. Your classes will be rigorous enough. Um, I've heard a few like student grievances about small things, such as like um, upper level courses tend to be all on Tuesday, Thursdays, and there was like an 8 a.m. like waves class. So like I don't know. I haven't really heard too much about physics. I can't really speak much about it, but you know, it's a good program. So I'm sorry to be vague, but let me know like if you have any specific questions about physics, and I'll address them if I can. Next questions. Are 8 a.m. classes typically smaller in size than the classes scheduled later throughout the day? Well, not really. Um, okay, yes and no. No, in that there are still like 500 people large, like 8 a.m. classes. But yes, because most people ditch them because they can't wake up or they just don't want to go. And that's what happens with 8 a.m. classes. So if you're like absolutely confident you're going to be a morning person throughout all of college, then sure, take your chances. I would, you can register for it. But I would say in most cases, don't register for an 8 a.m. your first semester. Um, Try to register for a slightly later class, like a 9 or 10 a.m. class, because you don't really know if you'll be able to handle 8 a.m. classes, and you might just end up figuring out that, hey, maybe I can't wake up for 8 a.m. classes after all, because you're going to develop new sleep habits in college, and yeah, that might affect how you'll be able to handle 8 a.m. classes. I wouldn't sign up for an 8 a.m. class just because it'll be quote unquote smaller. Um, there's not really much benefit to it. Next question is, what UGS and BAPA did I take? So I actually didn't take a UGS because I was able to use state law to skip it. But I can tell you what are good UGSs, and I would say there's a UGS called like sleep, why we're not getting enough of it or something like that. And everyone just calls it the sleep UGS. I've heard that's easy. There's for pre-meds, there's a good UGS called the doctor-patient relationship. Um, and there are two different kinds of UGSs. One is the 302s, which are like small seminar-based UGSs. They're only like 18 students big, so you'll get a pretty comfortable experience in there. Um, I think a good 302 to take is like how things work or whatever. It's like you learn about like simple machines and stuff, and I heard it was very easy and enjoyable. So that's a good choice. And then the 303s are like large lecture-based UGSs, and then where you also break off into smaller discussion sections um, once every week. So you have the lectures and then discussion sections. Which ones are better? I think it's up to personal preference, but it's really up to you. And let's see. There are a ton of UGS options, and they're very hard to sign up for at orientation. So definitely have a few choices lined up in your head. When you're trying to sign up for UGS, have your first choice, second choice, third choice. Some people even have 10 choices. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it might be a good idea to do that. Um, yeah, UGSs are there's a lot of variety in what they are about. But I guess that's kind of the idea to give you like a unique first year course to take. Some of the UGSs are a little bit more, um, I guess, more involved than others. So definitely look at the reviews of the professor, um, and the grade distributions of the UGS itself, to see like whether that UGS is something you might be interested in, if you have the effort for it. Because I know some professors, they are like, oh, you're in my UGS, and my UGS's policy is I'm not going to give anyone an A. Everyone's getting a B or below. So definitely stay away from those UGSs. But for the most part, UGSs tend to be okay. Some of them are really good, and I'd really go for the ones that are really good. So the list of UGSs will come out whenever the course schedules are released. So just wait for that when that happens. The VAPA that I took, I well, because I was able to skip my UGS, or I was able to skip my UGS because I completed my core curriculum before I came to UT Austin. That's probably possible if you like complete your associates at a community college in a dual credit program. Um, so I did take a VAPA elsewhere, but then I came to UT and I had to complete a flag requirement for cultural diversity. And I can explain flags if someone asks about it later. So just if you're curious about what flags are, just put it in the comments. But basically, I needed to complete this flag, so I took this VAPA called Jazz Appreciation, and it's online. And there's like hundreds of students enrolled in it, but you just listen to a live stream lecture every Tuesday, Thursday. And honestly, I loved the class. It was really nice. I came in and was like, oh yeah, whatever, jazz. Like this is some, it's what old people listen to. But I ended up like loving it. And I know people like think it's an easy class, and I agree. It's a very easy class, and they treat it as a blow off, and it is a blow off. But you can still appreciate it. So if you can sign up for Jazz Appreciation, definitely go for it. I had the second orientation, so that's why I was able to sign up for it. I'm pretty sure it was full by the end of the summer. So if you want Jazz Appreciation, definitely try to sign up for an earlier orientation. All right, can you go through a typical day for people at UT? Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. So the typical day involves waking up. Hopefully, either you shower in the morning or the night. So let's just say you pick one of those, right? You brush your teeth, floss, use the restroom, I don't know, and then go get breakfast at a dining hall. Well, no, not exactly. Because the dining halls don't open for breakfast, they only open for lunch and dinner. Sad, I know, but that's just how it works. So you probably will go to an a la carte location like JCL or Littlefield and or Cypress Bend. You'll get breakfast there and eat it. Uh, then you go to class, and I don't know, not much to say about that. Pretty straightforward. After you're done with classes, you're let's just say you have your classes all back to back for 3 hours a day, and then you're done. That's the typical load. Um, well, you might. Oh, I guess something you'll realize is, in college you have a lot more free time than you do in high school, but that doesn't mean that you can just use your free time to goof off. You'll use the time to study, to do homework. Maybe not the first few weeks, but definitely like in typical like part of the semester, you'll use it to study, do homework, projects, etc. Um, and you can hang out with friends and participate in clubs, go eat lunch, dinner, etc. Uh, how much free time you have depends on just what the classes you're taking and how time intensive they are. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's like so much variation in what you can do in a day, which I guess is a great part about college because it's up to you what to do. But yeah, let's just say you go to a club for an hour or two every day. You'll study for a few hours a day, and then you can hang out, relax with your friends. Weekends, like right now, that's the time to just yeah, just like go chill, have fun. If you want, you can Netflix and chill. Um, you know, the dating scene here at UT is very much alive. And you're adults now, so yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's just so much to say. Uh, I can't really name anything specific. And then at the end of the day, you go to sleep and hopefully shower beforehand. Especially if you're a CS major, you should really shower. Just because you're a CS major does not mean it's just optional to shower. So yeah. Next question. Is it necessary to have a car if I plan to live on campus? Um, no, definitely not. I don't have a car, and I'm just doing fine. Um, what you might need a car for is just like going to like faraway places. In which case, I would say just take a bus instead if you can, or take an Uber. Because having insurance and owning that car is going to be a lot more expensive than just using the bus system, which is free with your UTID. And Ubers are also really cheap. If you need to drive your own car somewhere because Uber just won't cut it, you can use Zipcar or Car2Go. They are short-term car rental services available to college students. Um, and the cars can be like picked up and dropped off very close to campus, if not on campus. Um, and yeah, the cars are really nice. They're new cars. Um, I use Zipcar personally, and it's just very easy for me to book a car and reserve it. Go somewhere with friends, and it's just really nice. Yeah. So typically, you won't do groceries if you live on campus because you can't really cook. So I would say, if every once in a while you can go out to like HEB or Target or something to buy the stuff you need by taking the bus or by getting Uber. But yeah, honestly, most of the time it's just, or most of your, necessities will be found on campus or next to it. So you really don't need to go to the grocery. So that eliminates one necessity for a car, right? And then in general, you just don't need a car to get anywhere. And most people don't have cars if they live on campus. If you do, if you do want to have a car, that's fine. But you probably will need to consider the parking options. The most convenient parking options are also the most expensive. They can range up to $900 per year. So yeah, I would definitely, if you want to look into further details about buying a parking permit, go to parking.utexas.edu. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. If I sign up for the July 1st through 3rd orientation, do I get less chances for classes than other earlier orientations? So the main question everyone has is like, um, does getting a later orientation put me at a disadvantage for classes? The answer is, if it's only freshman classes you're talking about, then no, because those classes are divvied up evenly throughout all the orientations, except possibly the August one. I'm not sure about that. But if you're in the summer orientations, if you have the last summer orientation, you're going to have the same chance at a class as does the people in the first orientation has. Now, if you're talking about a non-freshman class, then yeah, it will be unfair. For instance, I could sign up for jazz appreciation because I was in the second orientation. But I'm pretty sure if you try to sign up at the last one or August one, it would be full. That's just how it works. So if you're primarily taking freshman classes, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you are taking a lot of non-freshman classes, then it does matter. And try to, change your orientation time to be as early as possible. And remember, you can do that probably in May. I know the earlier ones are closed now, but they'll reopen it in May after people like canceled stuff. And so yeah. Um, okay, someone wants me to explain flags. I'll be honest, I don't like explaining flags because they're like the stupidest thing ever. But yeah, I'll explain flags because you gotta get them all to graduate, just like Pokemon. So you can find more information about flags at ugs.utexas.edu/flags. Um, I think that's it. Yeah. And I'll put that link over here in the comments section. Yeah. So, what are flags exactly? So they're like a second core curriculum. You earn flags, which are like themes, um, by taking certain classes, and these classes could be in your major or they could be not in your major. Every single department on campus will have some kind of flag attached to some classes. So not all classes come with flags, but there's a very good variety of flags, so it doesn't matter like, oh, only UGSs will have flags. It's not how it works. Like a lot of courses have flags. And the flags, you have to complete a certain amount of have a certain amount of flags completed in order to graduate. You'll need one of each flag except for writing, which you need two of, or even three of, depending on what your major is. But yeah, typically you'll earn a lot of their flags through your degree requirements, and then the other ones you can do by fulfilling. You can fulfill by taking like your core curriculum classes or UGSs. So the main flags are cultural diversity, ethics, global cultures, independent inquiry, quantitative reasoning, and writing. So I can explain what each of them mean. Uh, so ethics is any flag that teaches you like ethics. So like don't steal, don't do bad stuff. Independent inquiry is for classes that rely on you to think about things a lot. You're not going to be taught what to do. It's like more like you have to research it on your own. Quantitative reasoning is anything like kind of like math or sciencey based. Like you got to think about it in a quantitative perspective. So classes that deal primarily with numbers are probably going to have a QR flag. And writing flags are just flags, or that classes that are intense in writing. There's like a specific definition for writing flag, or for like a class to have a writing flag, but typically, I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of classes that have writing flags. So anything that's kind of heavy writing, you bet it will have a writing flag. And then there are two last ones. I'll talk about them together. There's a cultural diversity flag and then a global cultures flag. So these are the flags that mostly give people pain, because STEM majors and business majors and whatever, these flags won't be included in your degree plan. Like just by taking your major required classes, you won't automatically get them. Whereas like if you're a business major, you'll basically get all the flags you need just by taking your business classes, except for culture diversity and global cultures. So these two flags, they typically come from like your VAPAs, visual arts and performing arts, or like your UGSs. It just depends on what your UGS is about. I would highly recommend trying to find a way to kill two birds with one stone to get these flags. So try to get a class that not only fulfills a VAPA but also has a cultural diversity flag. For instance, that'd be like jazz appreciation. And that's how I fulfill my jazz appreciation or my cultural diversity flag. It's through jazz appreciation. Another thing is, global cultures. Try to find something that's kind of related to global cultures. And one caveat though about earning these two flags, some courses will have multiple flags attached to a course. That's totally fine. If you take that course and pass it, you'll earn all three flags or all the flags that come with it. It could be two, it could be three, maybe even four. I don't know. But if a class has both cultural diversity and global cultures, it'll only count for one. So you can't earn both by taking just one class that has both. That's unfortunately not how it works, because UT is just evil. So yeah, they want you to actually take more classes that you would go out, like to go out of your way and take more classes that you normally wouldn't take. All right. Oh my gosh, we have a lot of questions. You guys are asking really great questions. So I'm going to try my very best to get through as many of them as I can. How many extracurriculars do you recommend joining freshman year? What ECs am I involved in? So I recommend joining not too many, because this is not high school where you're trying to beef up your resume. It's college where you're trying to, actually be a part of the org and try to gain a leadership position, try to actively contribute to that org, treat it as if it were like your baby, I guess. Okay, some people might have a different view, but you should probably take your org seriously. Um, what you'll basically do is like the beginning of the year, uh, go to as many intro org meetings as you can, and eventually you'll figure out, okay, these are the orgs I want to stick with. It'll be like 1 to 2 or 3 maybe orgs. I definitely recommend you do at least one org because if you just didn't do any orgs, it's kind of like, I don't know, you'll lose like a sense of direction in your life. So yeah, definitely do. I would say one is good, two is a little bit much. Like you can do two probably, but you won't be able to spend that much time on both of them. Three is starting to push it. I would say just keep it three or under. The ECs that I'm involved in. So last semester I was involved with Texas Convergent, which was like this club where you get to um, build a minimum viable product from scratch all the way to like a MVP, an app. And so it's a combination of business majors and CS majors getting together and putting their intellect to work by the business majors focusing on the business side and the CS people focusing on the code side. Um, so yeah, that was good. That was fun org. We were that's what I was on was called a build team, where we made that app. So yeah, it was pretty cool just getting through that experience. Some orgs that I'm semi involved with, not really. I'm in Texas Votes, which is basically the organization that kind of promotes civic engagement in elections and voting on campus. Texas Votes is the org where people will go through to register people to vote, and it's a nonpartisan org. You don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican to join it. It doesn't matter what you are. Um, yeah, uh, I like it because I like to. I think it's very important for people to vote, and yeah, I went to like a voter registration like deputization training, and yeah, now I'm actually certified to register people to vote in Travis County. So hit me up if you want me to register to vote in Travis once you get here. So yeah, that's what that org does. They also table on campus, just register people to vote during like election season. All right, next question. I get nervous as hell while doing a presentation. How often do you have to do presentations? So that depends on like what kind of class you're taking. I would say yeah, you're not going to be able to avoid presentations depending on like what major you are. So if you're a business major, you're gonna do presentations. Like I hate them too, but I'm a business major, so I got to do them. Um, um, let's see. But you were asking about physics. As a physics major, I don't think you have to do any presentations. Um, you know, Presentations will probably be mentioned on a class's syllabus. So before signing up for any class, be sure to look at its syllabus or past syllabi, and that'll give you an idea of like whether the class will require extracurriculars or not. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? Whether it'll require presentations or not. Next question: are there any chances to join intramurals or like clubs where they all like get together in one place to see everything? Uh, Intramurals is I don't know what you're talking about in the second part, but in terms of intramurals, um, yeah. So UT has a pretty complicated intramural system, but that's just because we have so many teams, and it's actually really good. So you can sign up for an intramural team by paying like 100, or sorry, to create an intramural team, you can pay $100 to, I think that's $100 to UT Rec Sports, and they'll let you sign up to make one. Or you can join an existing one for free, depending on you'll find one to join, and yeah, you can play on sports like that. There's three divisions: A, B, and C. A being the more advanced, most advanced. B is like B team, C is C team, etc. And you kind of just like pick like which one you join. Unless you're in like a club sport, which is like one level above intramurals, it's like when you're actually kind of serious about it. You actually compete against other schools, but not like as a varsity player. Then you can do club sports, and then you can only participate in A level intramurals. But everyone else can do A, B, or C, and they're a lot of fun. You usually play them like at the intramural fields or just like wherever else they'll hold intramural games. And the intramural fields are like they're a little far away from campus or they're a good distance of drive, but yeah, it's it's accessible by bus, and yeah, it's a definitely thing you can do. I think there'll be like buses to like get there and stuff like that if you want to play. So yeah, yeah. All right, next question. Which residence hall would you advise for an incoming freshman? I've read comments in r/UT Austin, and many users say Durin is quote unquote antisocial. Is that true? When I worked at Durin, I realized that it was pretty quiet. I wouldn't say it's, I guess it's kind of antisocial. It's just that a lot of people are pretty quiet, and it's not like people like really talk to each other. I wouldn't say like, yeah, just because like, I'll explain. So, I have this really weird theory, but I think it makes sense. The more you have to share a bathroom, the more social your dorm tends to be. So, like for Jester, most of the rooms are a community bath, if not like just connected bath, which is not bad. I mean, you're still like sharing a bath with someone, and so you kind of like get to know your neighbors in your wing pretty well and your floor pretty well. It has nothing to do with like restroom interactions. It just kind of has to do with like, okay, I kind of have to get out of the room, and you'll see people in the hall and stuff like that. So yeah, like I'd say Jester's pretty active. Yeah, I'm in the honor squad, and the quad is pretty active as well. I mean, it's a little quieter than Jester, but like it's sometimes pretty active. Yeah, I think Jordan's kind of quiet, but it's just how it is. So as far as whether Jordan's antisocial or not, I would say it leans on the quiet side. So I'll go with that. Um, Next question. This will stay in your channel after it's over, right? Yes. Uh, Next question. I heard lectures are recorded. What of them are recorded? So I've never been in a class where lectures have been recorded by the professor. That being said, yes, some classes do record lectures, but it's not like it's definitely not standard. It's everything is up to the professor. You'll find out in college that a lot of stuff is up to the professor's discretion, um, from how they teach the course to just everything in general. So yeah, I would be a little careful on making wide sweeping generalizations about like, oh, like everyone does has like recording the everyone records their lectures. I wish that were the case, but not really. In fact, a lot of professors won't even allow you to self-record or even use your laptop in class. So yeah. Okay. But I'm not too sure what you mean by the like what of them are recorded. Uh, I guess everything. They just kind of record a video. I'm not sure what else you want me to say. Sorry, I'm just a little confused. So yeah. All right. Um, on the engineering website, it says people can be offered engineering honors after some time at UT. Uh, do you know people who have had this happen to them, and did they get these scholarships too? Um, I don't know anyone who's had this. This is a good question. Hmm. Uh, they might. Sorry, I'm not too sure about that. That's a good question though. Um, I would ask that on r/UT Austin. Is there someone I can go to see the possible classes that I could take so I can start looking at a possible schedule, or will all that be covered with my advisor at orientation? While it will be covered with your advisor at orientation, I do really highly recommend just looking stuff up proactively. So let me see if I can get uh, the live stream software to pull up something. Um, is it pulling anything up? No? Oh, that's very weird. Okay, well, I give up then. Um, yeah, or maybe I should just keep it like focused. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Okay. So let's see. So as I said, the class schedules for fall 2019 have not been released yet. Um, I think they'll be released sometime in late March or early April, but um, you won't be able to see the specific schedule yet. However, you can start looking at the degree plans for your major. So, for instance, let me pull up the CS degree plan. Um, you'll want to look at that and say like, okay, what have I already fulfilled? What do I need to fulfill? And so then what can I do to do that? You want to make like a roadmap to do this. Some colleges might offer like a 4-year plan. You don't have to stick to it exactly. Some of it you kind of have to stick to it exactly. I don't know. It depends. But yeah, most colleges will provide you a degree plan. Uh, and the link is, it does vary by whichever major you're doing, so I can't really give you like a central link to like click on, but yeah, you can ask for it in Reddit if you'd like. Degree checklists. There you go. Let me see. Okay. Let me see if I can add this. Yeah, all right, cool. So like this is an example of a computer science degree plan. Um, and so it'll be primarily composed of like a few things, right? The first thing is the core curriculum, which is, applicable to everyone. The second thing is the flags that you have to do, kind of sort of applicable, I guess. Third thing is just the actual classes you'll have to take for your major. And so what your AP credits will typically cover will be the core curriculum, maybe some intro level major classes. But for the most part, you're probably going to be just skipping some core curriculum stuff and going into your major specific things. So yeah, let me try to make this bigger. All right. Whoa, there's a lot of questions. I need to kind of pick it back up. Cool. So I'm just going to leave this here to look at. But basically, you'll want to just see like, okay, what AP credits am I coming in with? You'll want to convert the AP credits into the UT credits, like the UT class course codes. And that's where you want to go off of. And then just check the ones you've completed from AP, and then look at the ones that you'll need to do later. Prerequisites and more information about this can be found at catalog.utexas.edu. Let's see, next question. Do you know many engineering pre-med? Are they pretty successful? I don't really know any engineering pre-meds. It's possible to do that, but well, actually, I do know a few. Yeah, I think they're pretty successful, but I'm a little biased because, these are all people that I've met in the honors squad, and so they're in the honors programs. So I'm assuming they're successful. Uh, they should be pretty adept at, balancing their work. But yeah, most people who are engineering pre-med, are very rigorous, or not rigorous. They're very motivated and have solid work ethic. So if you want to do engineering and pre-med, you should definitely have a solid work ethic. In terms of success, I would say, or I guess in terms of the rigor, yeah, it's pretty rigorous because engineering itself is rigorous, and then you want to do pre-med, well, that's a lot. So will you have a life? I can't guarantee that. It depends on how much you balance it, but it's possible to do it. It just might not be, immediately. It might not be immediately apparent how do you approach that. Okay, the next question is, what are some tips that you have to help us incoming freshmen have an easier transition to the college atmosphere? Great question. So there's a lot to say about this. First thing is, um, college is not high school. I know it's obvious, but uh, I think what's less obvious is like, okay, well, how is college not like high school? You have to take care of yourself. And, this means that, you're not going to be able to rely on your parents a lot. You're going to start relying on yourself, etc. Um, you need to start learning how to take care of yourself, um, and to learn, how to manage your time by yourself without anyone to be there to watch after you. It's up to you to determine what you want to do in your free time, right? Even if you want to go to class or not. So some kinds of dilemmas that you might face, and it might sound funny, but I think it's pretty serious. For instance, you want to go to class or not? You can skip. Do you want to go on to Tinder and date someone? Do you want to have casual sex with people? It's all up to you. Um, do you want to do weed? Do you want to drink alcohol? Do you want to break the law? It's up to you. Uh, you should come in with some idea of like what you want to be. I don't make any judgments personally. This is your life, but it's you probably should figure that out, um, or at least have the mental preparation to kind of figure it out and have a platform on which you can begin to figure this out. Um, just it's going to be a little tough at the beginning, but you'll get used to it eventually. Okay, and if you ever have any trouble, just talk with someone like an upperclassman, like including me. Talk with someone about it. Ask them questions, and I think everyone in college is really busy, so it's up to you to get the resources you need. Go to office hours. I would say go to class. I know it's hard, but uh, going to class will make it a lot easier for you to get a better grade. It's just, learning the material from the professor or not, it makes a big deal most of the time. Uh, it might be a little tough to find friends at first, especially if you're not coming from a place where a lot of friends are coming to UT with you. So if that's the case, it's okay. Um, there will be friend groups that just kind of stay between like the high schoolers that, if they had a high school friend group, it carries on to college and they just kind of stay that way. That's all right. But, you'll eventually make friends with people in your classes. So most people will start to form their study groups from their classes, from their friend groups from their classes, or from like the, your dorm community or your honors program if you have one, or your extracurricular organizations. So definitely go pursue those avenues to kind of join orgs and stuff like that. Um, and I think at first you're gonna be a little bit shell shocked. You'll say, "Oh wow, I have so much free time compared to high school." You know, maybe in the first few weeks you can get away with wasting it, but after that, uh, it's the putting the pedal to the metal. You gotta uh, allocate your free time wisely and do things that you ought to be doing. For instance, me holding this live stream right now is not a very wise use of my time. I have a lot of homework to do, but I don't know. I just planned it out badly, I guess. I thought I wouldn't have enough. I thought I'd have time, but I guess I don't, and it's okay. It's just how it works. College is a constant juggling of like, okay, when can I do this? When can I do that? So just be ready for that. I think I should stop here because I think there's just a lot of stuff for me to say about tips in general. Um, so if you have any other questions specifically, feel free to ask me. But that's a really good question. I'm going to move on now because I don't want to keep ranting about that. Okay, next question. How much one-to-one advice can I expect to get from my advisor on course selection and degree plans? Ooh, great question. But this really depends on what major you are in. So, for instance, if you're in CS, you could probably visit them like on the second day of, and then they'll be able to answer that for you. Sorry, you can get one-on-one discussions with your CS advisor on the last day of orientation. Uh, but that's not really ideal. On the second day, you actually just get advising groups, and it's very impersonal. So I don't like it personally, but that's just how it is. So I think everyone should be able to get at least some one-to-one advice. Uh, Inevitably, I will probably be wrong. There'll be that one major whose advisors are all really trashy, and they'll just group advise you, and you'll be confused. So in that case, ask other people for help. Ask me, ask upperclassmen that you might know, um, or just figure it out on your own. Um, I mean, of course, I don't really want you to just be thrown out there and try to figure everything out by yourself. So if you have any questions on like where to get started, definitely hit me up. Next question. How hard is it to become an RA after freshman year? So actually, that's a good question. You can't be an RA your freshman year, but you can definitely apply to be one for sophomore year, junior year, or senior year too. And the process starts like basically a year before you become one. So applications start in the fall, like early fall. I would say September or October. I like to go to like an orientation session for becoming RA, and then you apply, go through interviews, and eventually you'll be selected. And if you are selected, then you go through intense training and stuff like that, like right before school starts, to move in early, you know, all that jazz. How difficult is it? I would say it's quite decently competitive because like everyone wants to be an RA. And so yeah, you have to be good. You have to know how to do well in the interview to become an RA. Next question. How is the government exam at UT to claim some AP Gov credit? Oh, I also did not take this because I took a dual credit class that taught me actual Texas government. But basically, this exam, uh, it's supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to penalize you because they realize that, oh, there's this stupid requirement that students have to know Texas government in order to, get their Gov credit. And the people behind this test are pretty nice. They're just like, okay, we'll let you pass if you like answer a few questions right. So you don't have to, get 100 on the test. As long as you get basically if you get a 5, I think you just need like one question right. If you got like a 3 on the government exam, you might need to get like 6 questions right, something like that, um, out of 20. So it's a very easy test to pass per se. There are people who failed it, but just look up, know that the railroad commissioner is the people who regulate oil and gas, things like that. Um, and then you can pretty much pass it. Yep. It's all multiple choice. It's pretty easy. Um, uh, I don't have first-hand experience, but from what I've heard, it's not bad. The next question is, how does the core curriculum work? Can I spread all my classes throughout the 4 years? Yeah, for sure. You can definitely spread it out all 4 years. I think that's what most like 4-year plans recommend you do. But that being said, it's not necessarily what I recommend. I don't know. It just depends on like how you want to structure your schedule around. Um, but I don't really know what you mean by like how does the core curriculum work? It just does, I guess. Uh, you just have to finish all the classes by the time you graduate. Oh, so I guess your question is like, do you have to finish them like by sophomore year or something like that? And the answer is no. You can definitely wait until like uh, the very last semester to finish your core. As long as you have it done by the time you want to graduate, you're fine. Um, yeah. Next question. How hard is it to get an internship as a freshman? Do you know any freshmen with internship? If so, what's the cloudiest one? So it depends on what major you're in. So personally, I do know a freshman who got an internship, and it's me. No, I'm just, well, I'm serious, but that was a joke. So, so yeah, I do have an internship. It's a little difficult to get one because most companies aren't looking for freshman interns. I personally I have a software engineering internship with GoDaddy this summer in Seattle. So it's a really great opportunity. I'm really looking forward to it. That being said, it's not usually for freshmen. I was able to get it because um, I have to show to the company that I have the skills that that you'll want from your typical interns. So so yeah, it's definitely possible to get a freshman internship, but it all depends on like how good your resume is, um, how well you can do on interviews, etc. The cloudiest internship, it depends on your major again. So I'm assuming you're going to talk about like CS. So for CS internships, I would say the cloudiest internship would be with Google. Um, but that's just the cloudiest internship in general. Anything else? Mm, yeah, the big companies like Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, etc. So just specify like what major you are. If I didn't, if you're not a CS major or if you're not ECE, then the answer will definitely change. So let me know if you're trying to get an internship in like another major. But yeah, it's difficult. You just have to know what to do, I guess. Um, Thankfully, I had my fake mentor help me figure that out, and yeah, that was it. All worked out. So I'm very lucky to be where I am today. Um, but there are definitely ways you can get ready to get an internship in freshman year. The next question is who has to take math placement exams? I'm an ECE major. So I do have a tool where you can check if you need to take the math placement exam. I'm going to post it into the comments right now. Um, the answer is if you're ECE, yeah, you definitely have to take the math placement exam. Um, they are basically for people who are taking calculus classes. Almost no one is going to come into UT with all their calculus completed. Um, and so you're probably going to have to take the placement exam. And the placement exam, basically, if you pass it, it allows you to take a calculus class at UT. Uh, so a lot of the most common question is, oh, but I already have AP Calculus BC or AB credit coming in. If I already have credit for calculus, then why do I need to take the placement exam? Because UT, they are mean. They just force you to do it. Sorry. But the main goal is for them to make sure you're prepared to take the future calculus classes, um, like Calc 3, for instance. I don't know. So yeah, there's two different calculus tracks at UT. One's the accelerated one, one's the regular paced one. But you basically have to finish one of them or the other, especially if like you're ECE or CS. Some of the majors only have to finish like 2 semesters of regular calc. That would be like McCombs, uh, maybe some CNS majors. I don't know. Maybe some bio. I don't know if bio needs 2 or 3. I forgot. But but yeah, chances are you're probably gonna have to take another calculus class here at UT. If you're coming with like Cal 3 credit, just DM me. There are some things I can't talk to you in public about, but yeah, just talk to me about that. All right, next question. Any recommendations on parties, clubs, and bars near your campus? I'm flattered you think I actually go to this. No, I'm just kidding. Well, okay, I don't really go to parties because most of them are not my thing. But UT has a very frat-oriented party system where frats will host the parties and you'll go to the frats. So just I don't know, go to there's a parties like group chat where you can like be in the loop about this stuff. It'll disseminate throughout your friend groups, so you'll figure it out. Because not all the frats have parties every weekend. You just have to find which one is hosting which, and yeah, you'll figure out what you like. I think different people like different kinds of parties. Let's see. In terms of like clubs, we don't really have any clubs like next to campus, but um, someone mentioned Sixth Street earlier, and I said, you can go down to Sixth Street to go to the bars. That's where most people go for bars and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Just go to one that you like and figure it out, I guess. Yeah. Next question. I'm planning to buy an iPad Pro to take notes. Is it something common on campus? Do teachers allow it? So yeah, it's common. Like I have an iPad Pro myself, but I don't usually use it to take notes because I don't know, it's complicated. Some professors, they don't allow you to use electronics at all in their class, and so good luck trying to use an iPad Pro for that. Although they might be a little, relaxed about iPad Pros, but like still, some professors might be a little bit strict. Other professors are like, yeah, you can use whatever you want in my class. You can, you know, I think last semester a professor's like, yeah, you can use your laptop, you can browse Facebook, whatever you want, I don't care. I'm like, okay, cool. Uh, but I use my laptop to take notes and occasionally Facebook, right? um, but yeah, other classes, yeah, professors don't let you do it. So I would say the safest bet is just to take notes by hand on paper if you need to. That works for every class. Um, but let's see. What was I going to say? It's having iPads and stuff is common. Oh, um, you can probably see whether a professor allows iPads or technology to be used in the classroom or not by looking at their syllabus. They'll usually say like no laptops allowed or whatever if they don't allow it. And if they do, they'll probably not say anything. But uh, yeah, if they don't say anything, you still can't assume that it's a no. It's allowed. So yeah, just be ready for both. Definitely use an iPad Pro if you like that better, but you know, be flexible. It's possible to get a one-on-one meeting with an advisor at freshman orientation, neuroscience major. CNS, let me see. I don't really know if CNS does one-on-one. They might, like non-CS CNS. Uh, yeah, I think you could. It might just be like uh group meetings at first, but after that you can probably visit with them one-on-one like the day after you meet in a group. So yeah. How do you study for the math placement exam? So they haven't released the study guides yet, which is really annoying. But you basically buy the uh, math placement preparation kit or whatever they call it. It's the link is on that link I just shared, and it's pretty expensive. It's either like $50 or somewhere in the dozens of dollars. I don't know. It's a ripoff, but that's how you prepare for it. You're supposed to complete the warm up, and that's basically like a practice exam. So yeah, I just remembered the name of the package you buy is called the Math Readiness Package. So you'll want to buy that to do the tests. It's a ripoff, but it's worth it. So do the practice warm up in there, and if you do well in that, you'll do well on the test too. If not, then the learning modules will help you review the stuff that you're lacking in. But if you have like a basic understanding of pre-cal, you should be fine. Like they're not asking very difficult questions at all. I have a I have my practice test from last year. Um, so if you want to If you want a copy of that, I can send that to you over Discord. You just have to make an account, and I'll send you the file. But yeah, join our server if you want to talk to me afterwards, because yeah, I think that's the best way to facilitate communication. Um, what if you've heard about biology majors? How hard is it? Is it manageable? So as you know, bio is probably the most common pre-med major, and being pre-med's pretty tough. You know, you're usually pretty busy just taking all your classes and stuff and studying. Uh, I haven't heard anything like particularly bad about bio majors. It's pretty tough, but as long as you keep on top of your stuff, I think you're fine. I see bio majors all the time. They seem like they're okay. It's not like they're struggling and crying or whatever. It should be doable. Yeah. The next question is, what have you heard about neuroscience majors? How hard is it? Is it manageable? uh, Again, I don't really think I have any specific comments about being a neuroscience major versus a bio major. I would say the same as bio. Next question. Do you get college gear for free? Okay. Good question. Free stuff. So in college, there's a lot of opportunities for free stuff. For instance, you will be able to get free T-shirts like basically everywhere. You just have to find the opportunity to pick them up. I know like UT has like the your department or your college might give you a free T-shirt. You get a free T-shirt orientation that says "Students Hooked on Texas," and it'll say like your class number and whatever. That's pretty cool. But yeah, you do get a lot of free stuff, including not just T-shirts, but pens. I don't know, and not the ones that you vape, like the ones you write with. Um, what else? I Let's see what I have here on my desk. I don't have a camera, but I have a Longhorn cup, Longhorn T-shirt, no stickers. Uh, I have swag from companies. I have a. If you're familiar with the company Atlassian, I have an Atlassian rubber ducky that's blue. Oh, nice, nice. Um, let's see. This is an Atlassian. I don't know. This goes around my head. Don't know. Flashlight. Oh, nice. Lip balm. I don't know. This is stuff I got from orientation, or not orientation, career fair. So yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of free stuff opportunities on campus. If you want a free T-shirt, it doesn't take too much effort to find one. I think you'll eventually get sick of getting free T-shirts. You're like, okay, this is like bad quality. I can't even take this home because like I have 100 T-shirts in my wardrobe and I can't fit them all. That's totally something that's happened. So yeah, I would say get free T-shirts in the beginning of the year. There's always like these events where they hand out free stuff. It'll come naturally. Just go to those and get free stuff. Eventually, you'll come to a point where you're like, okay, I've had enough free stuff. Like this is like enough. I need to throw stuff away actually. So yeah. What class am I taking right now? Uh, all right. That's a really personal question. No, I'm just kidding. Um, uh, so I actually make my schedule public because um, I also forget about it sometimes, and so you can refer to that here. But this is my schedule this semester. On Actually, okay, I could probably try pulling it up on a live stream. You don't have to look at it yourself. Let's see. What is the link? Um, so basically, like on Mondays, I will have one class at 11. Same thing on Wednesdays, except there's like a separate like research class seminar I'm taking on Wednesdays as well for Turing scholars. Um, let's see. And my Tuesdays and Thursdays are a little busy, but that's because there's this weird 5 to 7 o'clock class that I had to take. So yeah. So this is kind of a weird schedule, but I think it's like a decent load size schedule. I'm taking 15 hours, which is a typical load for students to take. I think it's been pretty manageable so far. The classes are tough, but that's just because they're honors classes, and so yeah. Um, but yeah, so the specific class I'm taking this semester are computer architecture, um, the CS research seminar, uh, business communications, intro to MIS, competitive programming, and human sexuality. And so most of the classes are for my major. The one that actually, no, all of them are for my major in some way. I'm not just taking any blow off electives. The competitive programming is doesn't really count towards a major requirement, but it's just it's a good class to take for in general, like to learn knowledge. Human sexuality is a little bit of an outlier. I guess it's my freebie elective, but it actually counts towards a major requirement. But like I like it, it's my blow off class. It's fun. It's pretty good. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't think you want to know too much about my class schedule. It's not very typical. But it's just what it is. Uh, Next question is like how many classes I recommend that someone will take freshman year. Great question. So the first semester you should definitely take like do a little lighter of a course load, especially if you have the luxury of doing so. If you're coming with AP credits, I'm pretty sure at least one of your classes will be like kind of like nulled out because you took the AP class already. So that means you can kind of take the first semester chill and take only 12 credit hours. This will allow you to get a feel of like what college is like without being too stressed out. And I think that's a good move. Um, but after that, oh, what happened to this? This is very weird. Um, let's see. But I would say spring of freshman year, you can probably up it up a little bit, up the ante a little bit, and take 15. Yeah. I want to meet Domino. That's a good thing to want to do. I haven't actually seen Domino yet, and I'm really sad. So I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, yeah, Domino's a cute cat. How do you meet potential roommates? So I think one of the ways is to go on the your class Facebook page and make like a intro by yourself. Be like, "Hi, my name's blah blah blah." I'm looking for roommates. This is my major. Here's some interesting things about me. I'm from blah 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 blah. Yeah, I think if you join the your class's Facebook page, you'll be able to see some examples of that. Just kind of go along with that. I really recommend finding a roommate beforehand. Don't let people randomly assign you to a room. That's just not a good idea at all. Um, yeah, I've heard bad things, and UT does not do a good job of randomly pairing roommates. They're just like, okay, you guys have the same major, and oh, your last name is like similar enough. Okay, close enough. You're roommates. That's a really bad way of picking roommates. Definitely find someone you can get along with. Some questions you might want to ask are like, when do you sleep? It's a huge thing. You don't want to if you're an early bird, you don't want to be a roommate with a night owl. Does your roommate do they do drugs? Like that might be a little bit of a personal question to ask, but I think it's a reasonable one because if your roommate does weed, it's not going to be a pleasant experience if you smell that in your room all the time. And it's illegal, so you don't want to be like, caught in that position where you have to report them, and that's just awkward. Uh, I don't know. Other than that, just ask like personality questions, make sure you guys get along. After that, you'll be able to select your roommate pairs in April or May on the system, and then from there you'll try to find your room in June. Yeah. Is campus a safe place? Campus is, I would say it's, yeah, it's pretty safe. It tends to get a little shady at night, and that's all right. We have something that's called SureWalk, which allows you to call like a driver to pick you up at somewhere and then drop you off somewhere else on campus or next to campus. Um, there's a male and a female. There's a male driver and a female, person sitting on the side, or vice versa, with every single SureWalk cart, like golf cart, whatever they have. So yeah, it's a pretty nice service to have to use. Um, Campus itself is usually is pretty safe. We do have occasional like things happening, but it's I don't think anyone's gotten hurt over the past year, so it's fine. You might have heard of the murders that have happened on campus. That's very rare. It only happens like, okay, that actually makes it sound bad. It happens once every 2 years or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big campus. UTPD tries their best to keep everything safe, but the best way to be safe on campus is to walk with people and don't walk by yourself at night. It's really dangerous. Um, but yeah, definitely walk with friends or at least like be on the phone with someone until you reach your destination. Next question. Oh, sorry. Okay, fine. I'll answer. I'll wrap this up. So, is campus a safe place? It's pretty safe, but just to be on the safe side, you should definitely, you know, protect yourself, stay with people, try not to get robbed, like try not to be out at night too much. Guadalupe Street is a little unsafe, so just avoid that area after dark, unless you're with people. What are some dorm essentials that I would need? Um, I think there's a lot of stuff that you'll need for your dorm, but there's like a big list, so I would Google that. Um, but things that you really, really, really need off the top of my mind are like, you need to bring bed sheets, your toiletries. If you're in a community bath, you don't need to bring toilet paper, but you still need to bring like your toothbrush, soap, shampoo, etc. Shower slippers if you're in a community bath because you don't want to get foot fungus all over. um, let's see. Bring clothes for all seasons, not just summer. It might be very hot when you get here at Austin, but it's gonna get cold in the winter, so don't be fooled by that. Um, Maybe have some snacks, like emergency snacks, if you're ever feeling hungry. Um, I don't know. Other than that, like you don't really need to bring too much to your dorm. Other than like school supplies and everything, it's kind of obvious. Like you need to bring clothes. Wow, what a surprise! But yeah, there's not too much you need to bring. Just think about like what would you not be able to live without at home? And yeah, one of the answers might be like, oh, your parents, but you can't bring them along. So in terms of like things you can realistically bring along, try to think of what you can bring. Would I advise taking summer classes at UT Austin following freshman year? It depends on your situation. But if yeah, I think if you can work it out for sure. Now, there are a ton of things you could be doing in the summer other than online classes. So what I'd recommend is if you want to keep your summer flexible and open and not too intense, then definitely take like an online class if you can over the summer. You can take it at UT where it's pretty rigorous, right? But you can also take it at like a community college if it exists at community college, and then transfer that credit over to UT, and that's definitely a good option. Um, uh, these community class or college classes usually are easier and cheaper, and so might as well do it on there. Oh, they're also online, right? So try to get online classes in the summer. You don't want to be going to class every single day. Trust me, you're going to get sick of going to class every day during the long semester or the long semesters. And that's just a fancy name for fall and spring semester. Um, yeah, just it depends on the situation, but try to make the best out of it. Try not to get like actual classes. Try to make it like online or something like that, so you don't drive yourself crazy. Does CNS allow us to take physics at a community college, or do we take it at UT? That's a really, really good question because I'm glad you asked that because the answer is not in the fall or spring. You have to take it at UT. If you take it in the summer, then that's fine. You can take it in the community college. But this is a CNS specific policy. I don't think it applies to engineering. So yeah, check with your school before you before you do this. What is the thing with Bob's and Chipotle? Well, I'm not too sure. Like, you mean the thing that's on the meme page? Um, this is a non-issue. It's just Cabo Bob's is like a restaurant, and so is Chipotle. And I don't know. Cabo Bob's is more of a local chain. Chipotle is more a national chain. People like Cabo Bob's. People like Chipotle. Uh, I don't know. There's a backstory about the memes. Uh, I don't think it's really pertinent to the live stream, so you can talk to me about it later. But yeah, it's not that important. All right. Yeah, thanks to everyone for asking questions. If there are no more, I will answer some more like generic questions. Um, and then we'll see if we need to continue. But yeah, keep asking questions. Um, tonight's a Friday, so we don't have to go to sleep for a while. Let's see. Where was the Reddit link that I had? All right, so hmm. Oh, I guess we've already covered all these default questions, which is fine. Um, but yeah, I feel like we've there's I guess there is a lot of stuff to cover, but yeah, let me think of it. Let me see if I can think of some more stuff. Thank you for asking another question. Is FRI too time consuming? I would say it can be time consuming. Some people like it, some people don't. It just depends on like which stream you're in. Some of the streams are better than the others, because they all can't be like of the same quality. So I'd say do it, and if you don't like it, you can always drop out. Where do you buy your textbooks? Ah, good question. Um, so you can buy your textbooks at the university co-op. That's the most convenient but expensive option. They have all the textbooks that all the professors require, and it's right next to campus in the drag on Guadalupe Street. So yeah, it's very, very convenient and close, but it's really expensive. What most people do is they either buy it on Amazon or rent it on Amazon, rent it through Chegg, or they pirate the books. I'm not saying all these are legal options, but that's what people do. Personally, I have this semester I'm using online textbooks through Cengage Unlimited. So I pay like $120 for 4 months of access. And before you tell me like, oh, but you could have just pirated it. Yes, I could have, but first off, that's illegal. Second off, I had to use like an access key, and you can't really pirate access keys. So yeah, I had to pay $120. It's whatever. At least it's for 2 classes, not one. But yeah, textbooks are really expensive, so just try to get used textbooks if you can. Access codes are evil. If your class requires an access code, you're gonna have to buy it. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't try to avoid those classes, I guess. um, Most classes should be relatively reasonable, and you can use old textbooks. In our freshman year, will we begin taking research courses if we're accepted into the FRI program? Yeah, I think it's in the spring. I don't think you do much in the fall. You kind of just like get prepared in the fall. Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. Sorry, this is a little off topic, but I remember I needed to cover this. If you're like in an honors program, they actually might have assigned UGSs for you to do. I don't think FRI does this, but like, for instance, if you're in Dean Scholars, you're not going to be taking just like some random UGS. You're actually going to be taking like the Dean Scholars UGS, which is called Originality in the Arts and Sciences. So yeah, if you're Dean Scholar or something like that, hit me up. I'll talk to you more about what it is. I'm not too sure what it is myself, but I know people are deans, so they can probably answer that question better than I can. What TI calculator do I currently use? Oh yeah, so like basically like what calculator should you use in college? Um, let's see. I don't really have any classes that require a TI calculator anymore because I'm basically done taking my math classes. Um, but the one I would recommend using is the TI Nspire CX-CAS. Most professors allow it, some of them don't, in which case just use the non-CAS version or use a TI-84. That's probably the next best thing. Um, but yeah, the I think that'll be enough to sustain you. Yeah. I swear by the TI Nspire, and if that doesn't if I'm not allowed to use it, then I just use the 84 and it's fine. At what moment do I choose my degree options? Uh, I don't know what you mean by that. I think like, oh, I see what you mean. Hmm. I think you decide. I don't think you decide at orientation. You're probably like put into one by default. Actually, no, you might decide at orientation. I don't know. It depends. You'll decide at orientation, or you'll decide like sometime in the fall, and then yeah, you can probably switch around after that because the degree options are not set in stone. So, yeah. Would I recommend purchasing a check account? It depends on like what classes you're taking. So, I think a check account is pretty useful for the classes that like assign homework from the textbook, or like they just yeah, if they assign like a lot of homework problems from like non-professor sources. So like the professor, if the professor did not make the homework up themselves, then it's pretty likely you're going to be using like textbook problems. And so I think it would be helpful to use Chegg. I don't recommend using it way too much because for academic honesty reasons, right? We want to, for academic integrity purposes, we don't want to abuse Chegg. But but yeah, it's definitely a good option for you to study with. I would just wouldn't recommend buying a subscription until you're sure you need it for a class. So you don't need it for like, for instance, I don't use my Chegg. I wouldn't use Chegg in my CS class. That doesn't make any sense. I would use it for like a physics class because that's if I do like mastering physics or I don't know what they use here at UT, but yeah, yeah, you'd probably use Chegg. How are the BHP academic advisors? They're pretty good. I think they're great. You'll get to know them at orientation, and you'll find out that they're really nice people, and they're really there to help you and to plan out your orientation. Um, so our two academic advisors right now are Paul and Steph, and you might have meeting them like at one of your BHP dinners or lunches or whatever it was, but yeah, yeah, they're very good at what they do, and they'll help you figure out a lot of stuff. So I would say they are much better than your like regular McCombs or regular like typical advisor here at UT. Uh, just because like they know the different possibilities of students and stuff like that. Um, So yeah, they will be well equipped to handle your situation. So yeah, definitely look forward to meeting them at orientation, and you can talk with them one on one about your situation too. Because I know I was able to do that for my orientation. So yeah, all right, cool. So if anyone else has any questions, I'll leave the floor open for 30 more seconds to maybe think about it, or I can talk about some other stuff. So let's see, what's something that's really important for people to know that I haven't talked about today? Oh, there's a lot of questions about financial aid. I'll talk about that after this question. How's my experience at freshman orientation? I think it was overall good. Looking back, it was good. That being said, it wasn't the best at times, but it was also not the worst. So, I think it dramatically changes based on the day you're talking about. So, I was really excited, for it, on the first day. I went there at like 7 a.m. It was like super early. Like, oh my God, it's so early. But yeah, went in, got checked in. Um, and after like a short rest and like a quick tour, we basically like we had a lot of stuff to cover. So like we went through like all these events and stuff and like took placement tests and it was just really tiring that day. The first day is very tiring. I would recommend get really well rested the night before orientation because the first day is a lot. Um, but it was good, right? The second day was a lot more relaxing because the majority of the day consisted of us just like going to our academic advisors and getting advised, and then just like chilling and hanging out and stuff like that. At night for each of the orientation nights, so they'll have events for you to do. And at first I was like, oh yeah, this is lame, whatever. But they do a pretty good job of putting on these events. I wouldn't just dismiss them like I did. So yeah, don't be like me. Don't be a dismissive jerk and be like, this is stupid, whatever. I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to get my classes. Yeah, I mean, actually, I think it's much better to just have fun at orientation, have your classes already prepared, so it's a low stress experience. There's also like uh, these like skits and stuff you have to watch. So like the goal of them just to like help you be uh, more tolerant of different people and of diversity, because UT does emphasize diversity. Um, I found them personally to be a little bit annoying. It's just like, okay, I get it. I shouldn't, discriminate based on people's race, sex, religion, gender identity. I don't know, anything. Just be tolerant. Got it. But yeah, they spend a lot of time on that stuff. So it might get a little annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, but yeah, I think freshman orientation overall is a fun experience. Just I published like a list of the things that you should watch out for at orientation. Let me see if I can find them because uh, it was a I think it was a very long list that I compiled, and I think it was very good. I don't know if you'll be able to understand what I'm saying, but I think it's worth a try. Okay, so orientation tips. First, you definitely need to know your EID because you're going to be using it for everything. Okay? When you first check in, have a form of government ID ready and be prepared to get a room key and a swipe card. The swipe card works at locations that accept dine-in dollars. This card can be used at JCL and in some vending machines, but it can't be used in Gendy's or the the SCC food court. It expires on August 31st, so you don't have to use all of it during orientation. You can come back and use it also for like the first few days of class. So new student services won't provide you a personalized orientation schedule. Instead, you'll want to download the UT Orientation app on your phone. You really do need it. Keep your battery on low power mode for the next few days. This doesn't apply anymore. You need to RSVP for the Smart is What You Do session on the orientation app by clicking on the event and RSVPing for it. They do collect your EID at the end of it, so you need to go. Longhorns Keep Each Other Safe is required, but does not collect your EID, so be sure to just go to one. I know they have in the past uh, started to take down names, but I don't know. It's up to you to. It's up to your discretion to skip Longhorns Keep Each Other Safe. And these are like two orientation uh, things you have to kind of go to. Now, this reminds me. I think there will be like 6 pre-orientation modules you have to watch before orientation. Those come out like in May, so just be sure to go to my.utexas.edu and do that when the time comes. All right, the community bath codes will be on the back of your room door. The showers might be cold at first in Jester, but if you let it run for a while and adjust the temperature between hot and cold patiently but repeatedly, you should eventually get hot water. The first day is full of activities beginning from 10 to basically 4, and then more at night. It's very busy and not chill like 10 p.m. until like 10 p.m., so power through. The next 2 days are much more chill. Your college will provide your advising info on the first day, and then you'll go to your advising on the second day. Walk-in advising is available on the third day if you need to speak personally with an advisor for further help or special circumstances. You'll have to get your ID at orientation, and the ID line is very long, but don't bother waiting if it's super long, and you have different places to go. So if you have other stuff to do, don't wait in line. You can do it any day. Even Monday is fine. You can't even get your ID until 9 or 10 a.m. on the third day, though. It's like you can go to the ID line and get your picture taken, but they won't hand you your physical ID until the very last day, which is super annoying. I hate them for that, but that's just how it works. So there's no advantage to getting your ID made earlier. You do not need your parent or notarized form to get your ID card. That only applies to EID upgrading, which can be done while you get your ID, but also can be done later. There's two things you have to do when you get your ID. One is when you when you upgrade your EID, which is basically saying everything you do online through your EID logged in is contractually binding to you. The second thing is just getting your ID card. These two things can be done at the same time. They usually are, but they have different procedures, and depending on whether you're a minor at orientation or not, if you're 17 or 18 at orientation, the procedure is a little different. So yeah. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you're unable to upgrade your EID, that doesn't prevent you from getting your ID card. You room with someone in your college. They'll try to pair you up by major and alphabetically by last name. You'll have many activities to do with your college, but that doesn't mean you can't hang out with friends in other colleges during your free time. So if you're in this CNS event, and it's this blows, you can go hang out with your engineering friends. It's okay. If you don't want to carry around your laptop for the first 2 days, you don't have to. But if you do, it'll be useful in some cases too. Laptops are definitely useful on the third day of registration, where it helps to have your personal device to register. If you don't have your personal device, it's going to be really tough because you have to use the computers on campus. That kind of blows. During registration, you should connect to a hotspot. Don't try to register using the Wi-Fi. It's going to be painfully slow. Hotspots actually work better. I don't know why. I do know why, but it's CS stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, just use a hotspot. The nighttime activities are so much fun, and you can do any of them. Meet friends and stuff. Be back before 12:30. 12:31 is fine, but 12:45 is not. Or they will punish you with a registration bar, which means you won't be able to register for classes. There are no room checks, so there's a curfew. Don't go to a frat party because you can't go off campus during orientation. At the organization fair, which is where all the orgs get together and kind of display oh, this is our org. Check what interests you out and put in your email if you want to receive emails from the org. And there's also a lot of free stuff there. Don't worry about picking classes. Your college advisors will explain what classes you should take. Oh wait. Well, this advice is for people who are worried. If you're able to pick it out yourself, just do it beforehand. A fair bit of advice, though. Many classes will be bundled through your FIG. So FIGs are these first year interest group thingies where you basically you kind of study with these people and do stuff together. I don't know. And you take the same classes together, and you'll meet up once a week with your FIG mentor and just do things. It's a good way to meet friends and stuff. So yeah, these FIGs will typically bundle a lot of classes with it. So you just sign up for the FIG, and it's bam, you've got all these classes already lined up for you. It's a good choice for most people. It's not such a good choice sometimes when you're like, oh, but I really want this class, and that's totally fine. You can always drop like you can be like, yeah, I don't want to do this fig, or I don't want to do this fig class. I want to do my own class. That's okay. You can do that too. Try a UGS 302 if you're feeling brave, but have like 10 backups for those since there's only 3 spots for each UGS or 302 per orientation. UGS 303s don't fill up that quickly though and are safer to try for. There's a confirmation page just before it'll let you register for classes, so be sure you aren't surprised by that. When registering for classes, UT Direct will be super slow. Stay calm and go with your game plan. Have several tabs open in case one errors out or is too slow. Keep your unique numbers in a Word doc or a notepad and copy paste them into the website to register. Register for your FIG first before any other classes. This FIG code begins with 98 and is OP, as in like overpowered, because it adds you to multiple classes all at once. If you don't use your 98 code first, you'll have to drop all your other classes before being able to add your FIG into your schedule. Okay, after you add your FIG, try to look at with your UGS. You have until midnight of the Wednesday of your orientation date to make changes to your schedule. Then you'll be able to make more changes in August. More info on when you can do that on your registration information sheet, RIS. Again, use a hotspot. Bring a blanket because the sheets in Jester are super thin. There will be a blue blanket on your room's shelf, but it might not be as clean as you'd like it to be. Bring shower shoes unless you want foot fungus. Bug spray is recommended. Use either Corsical or the official UT Planner to visually plan out your schedule. The link is utexas.collegescheduler.com or utexas.courseschool.com. We can refer to the pinned posts on our subreddit. That'll have way more links. Actually, yeah, it has links for Rate My Professors, Old Syllabi, UT Catalyst Creative Distributions. You can actually begin checking out at 11 a.m. on the third day of orientation, so you don't get caught up in the checkout frenzy after registration, which is like at 3. Get your stuff on the car or bring it with you to registration, and then just after that, just be like, see ya, and breeze off. All right, so those are my tips for orientation. I can post that later, just remind me. And hopefully that didn't take too long, but I think this is really valuable information. All right, thank you for your patience. I'm going to get to the other questions now. So how's the workload for classes, and how do you overcome procrastination? So the workload for classes, it highly depends on what class you're taking. For instance, my human sexuality class is very easy. I just had to take 3 exams, write a few papers, and I get an A if I get like an 86 average on the tests. Other classes are very difficult. So like my computer architecture class is like really difficult because like we have a test on Wednesday and Tuesday and I need to study for it like this weekend and yeah, this is an honors class, so it really challenges us to think about these problems and do well on them. Um, so the workload just heavily depends on what classes you're taking. People will be like, oh yeah, this class is a lot of work. And you'll want to rely on like upperclassmen and stuff for like advice on like which classes are hard and which classes are not. You'll want to balance it out. So, you're never going to have some hard classes, but be sure to take some easy classes along with them so that your schedule is not too easy, not too difficult. And the reason why you shouldn't be too easy is because that if it's too easy one semester, it probably means that you're going to have to work really hard another semester, and you don't want that. So be sure to spread it out. What is the schedule for the library and the dining hall? So the dining hall schedules are posted on housing.utexas.edu/dining/hours. And the library schedule, it's on lib.utexas.edu. I can't remember the actual link. Oh, okay. It's lib.utexas.edu/about/hours. So, typical rule of thumb, the Perry Castaneda Library is open 24/7 on the weekdays, but it closes It closes like at like 11 p.m. on weekends, and then it's like open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on weekends. Um, yeah, the dining hall hours, they're not the best. They kind of close a little too early for some people's liking, but they're open from 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. On the weekends, I believe it's 11 to 2 and 4:30 to 8 on the weekends for kid solving only. J2 is closed on the weekends. Um, let's see. Yeah, and then the a la carte locations tend to be open a little bit more, but again, the hours are posted on the website and they can change. Okay, so someone said, yeah, you can actually get your ID before orientation. Yes, I would highly recommend doing that. Getting your getting your ID at orientation is, part of my language, a royal pain in the ass. Like it's really annoying. So just try your best to get it before orientation, because then you won't have 1,000 people trying to get it at the same time. So yeah, um, yeah. And once you have your UTID, you have a lot of benefits. You can feel like you can go to the LBJ library, you can go to the Blanton Museum for free, etc. So start using your UTID's benefits. You're basically a student now, which is awesome. All right, sweet. Well, so yeah, I'm not too sure if anyone else has any questions. I'll stay around for a little bit, but yeah, I think this live stream's been going on for like almost 2.5 hours now. So yeah, um, thanks everyone for participating. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me afterwards. I might not be able to get to all of them tonight, but I'll try my best. Message me on Discord if you can. And yeah, thanks for participating. I'm gonna quickly answer this one last question, and then I think I'll end the live stream after that. So thanks all. So where do you pay your enrollment deposit? I click on the link of the page, but sends me nowhere. Oh, that's weird. I'm not sure. If you should go on My Status, and then um, you when you accept your offer, hmm, I actually can't remember. Sorry. Um, you should be able to do it on My Status. If not, then you should be able to like do it on What I Owe, which is also on UT Direct. So so yeah, check that out. Probably ask somebody else who's had experience with this. I can't remember. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks to y'all for participating. You had great questions, and yeah, I hope the this live stream was informative and helpful for you. But yeah, again, if you have any other questions, then yeah, feel free to ping me on Discord. Appreciate your kind words. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad it's been helpful then. All right. Well, everyone, I know spring break has started for a lot of you, so have a fun spring break. And yeah, catch y'all later. Have a good night.